Hello.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Kat.
And we welcome you to Renaissance Spike TV episode 12, live
from the musical terrace where there's some French horn playing in the background. And we're outside, so please excuse any noise. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll take it away.
Perfect. So last week we had a very interesting learning experience, and we would like to take today to share it with you.
So we were background extras on an NBC TV pilot. Now, it was so cool and so amazing, but then it was also really tough and really tiresome and long and arduous. But in those sweet moments, we realized, wow, this is really eye-opening, and we wanted to share it with you, which is why we're dedicating today to the top 5 big takeaways of what we learned while on production.
So, number 5. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Yeah, we hear that time and time again, but you really felt it in this scenario.
Absolutely. And the reason being is, so often, perhaps we can be watching our favorite movie or television show, and you can see those celebrities or those actors and actresses, and you wish you can just switch places with them in an instant, thinking that their success was delivered to them on a silver platter.
Thinking that their life is so easy. That word easy gets thrown around, and it's really not easy.
And why are we saying this? Because we had first-hand experience of what it's like to be on a production set. It's literally like entering a new society or a new world, and we had reverse culture shock after the first 3 days.
Statement.
It was an interesting experience trying to get back to real life, because our real lives that we have chosen for ourselves do not involve 18 plus hours of standing on your feet all day on a very strict, stringent schedule to get a production in time.
So you got to be passionate. What we're really getting it down to is you got to be passionate at what you do. These people on set, they're passionate, so they don't mind putting in the hours. Us, on the other hand, who are not looking to do this as a full-time gig, are saying,
not even a gig, like your life's work.
Are not passionate enough. I mean, we love speaking in front of you, but it's a different story than being involved in this whole big hoopla of a production, and you gotta be passionate.
So bottom line, if you're not living and breathing film production, don't even go there.
So let's get to number 4 of the 5 big takeaways of what we learned while on an NBC production set.
Appreciate the process.
Yes. So the biggest thing we saw was teamwork. Now, we think of a movie, right? And we talk about celebrities. It's like they run the show, right? It's not necessarily the case. You got people like us as extras putting in the hours too and needing to be in the background. But then you got people like the production assistants, the lighting crew, the director himself or herself, the director of photography. I mean, all these pieces to the puzzle.
Don't forget the props guy. They're the ones that give you what you're supposed to be holding and pretending there's like actual food and you have to pretend to sip on a drink or pretend to write notes.
Exactly.
There's so many moving pieces.
And they all have to work together, because if they don't, it's not going to be as productive as you would have liked.
And I think one of the biggest realizations is that in order to make one 22-minute pilot that might not even get picked up, it required 5 18-plus hour days of getting all of the footage, making sure that the location space was just right. And we don't realize that when we're simply consuming media or entertainment.
So let's move on to number 3, which is ask and you shall receive.
So there are these people on set called PAs, also known as production assistants, and sometimes they have to have more of an aggressive, assertive personality because they have to make sure that the production is running on schedule, and there's a lot of pressure on them.
Right, and they really do. I want to chime in. They do kind of handle all the extras. So they're handling like 70 plus adult animals. And you know, it's a lot of work. It's like going to school all over again, but we're adults, so we don't want to, be treated as children. But you have to, because you got to be on a strict guideline.
Exactly. And there was one day that Clarina, she was able to stay on set for the whole hours, and I was dismissed around 3 hours early. And the thing is, we were going home together, and we had to share the same ride. So I just had to wait for her in a place called Holding, which is kind of like, it's a place where you just wait until you're needed.
Literally, you're holding there.
And instead of being assertive and asking the production assistant, can you just keep me on with the rest of the background TV instead of wrapping me up, because I'm just gonna have to wait here and I'd rather be doing something. So I didn't say that because I felt intimidated. And the next day when I actually revealed to the production assistant what happened, she said, why didn't you just ask me? And I was honest and I said, I was a little bit afraid of you. And I think what this made us realize is that oftentimes I have a fear of, and you share this as well, confronting authority. And if it comes down to standing up for someone else or expressing someone else's needs, that's easy for me. But to express my own needs is a challenge.
Definitely.
And it was very eye-opening, and it was something that I'll always take away, just to speak up. And if it's not a big deal, just say it. The worst thing that you have to say, that's
you
going to
get
say
heard
is
back is no. And then
whatever.
you move on. Yeah.
Exactly.
So ask and you shall receive. So let's move on to number 2. Is what not to do. Right? What you don't want to do.
And appreciating the beauty of figuring out what you don't like to do.
Right. So it's like, I like to think of it as a to not do checklist, right? So think about a to-do list. You write things down. When you get it done, you cross it off. How amazing. It's like you have like autonomy over your life. That I checked that off. I got it done, right? You kind of like, you put your shoulders back. So what if we create the to not do lists, where maybe you had an internship, or in our case we did this background extra and we realized maybe not for us. I could cross that off and I can narrow my list down to what I do want to do.
And it actually gave me a great appreciation for everyone that is involved and very passionate about the entertainment industry, because obviously I do enjoy entertainment or live performances, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be doing it.
Right.
And it feels so good because we realize that success isn't a one-way street. It's all around, and you have to keep crossing off those marks.
Yeah, and you know, something for me too, it's funny, I've always been the girl that's behind the scenes, production side. So this was the first time where, regardless of me being in the camera for you, I was in the camera for like a bigger production, right?
And as a background, it's not like we're the principal, we're just making movement, but you're responsible for being on camera.
Right, and I realized, you know, I love being in front of the camera, but I really love putting my hands on like the editing part and what to go here and what to go there. So I realized, okay, now I know my strengths. Now I know where I need to follow the road, and that there's a beauty to learning what you don't want to do and what doesn't jive with you.
And then once you figure out what you don't like to do, it's much more easier to focus on what you do like to do.
Exactly. So here we go.
Drum roll.
So the number one takeaway of being on, what we learned of being on a production set. Alex, shall you? She's stumped. She's stumped. She's like,
there's a lot of insights, okay? It's be confident
in who you are. Know thyself. Listen, it's no easy task. I mean, sometimes we felt like we were on a kickball line in gym class, lining up on a line and being chosen. Yes, we want you. Yes, we want you. Yes, we want you. And then it's like 2 seconds later, you get up there and they say, no, we didn't want you. And you're like, what?
And for some context, say there is a team of 75 background extras. They're not going to need all 75 people at the same time. So as you said, you're lined up and you're chosen. But you cannot take it personally if you're not selected, because you might not be the look that they're looking for. They might be looking for
someone
a 5 foot or a 5'3" Asian man, and I'm not that person. So how can I fulfill their needs?
Right.
And if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, you can't survive. I mean, literally, we were very aloof in this whole process.
And we were taking it in stride because we're not taking this seriously. We're not trying to pursue acting full time.
Right, but we witnessed things of people really getting offended that, you know, they were pointed like this, you and you and you and you, and then it was like, no, we don't need you now. And they took it very personally, like, you just told me that I was chosen, and it's nothing against you.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the vision that they're trying to create. And that can be taken in life, right? Think about you like a guy or a girl, and you know that person doesn't shoot. You're second fiddle. You kind of become this second fiddle person. When you take it to offense, like, wow, what's wrong? You know, they didn't like me. No, it's not necessarily the case. Maybe they're at a different station in their life. Maybe you know, they're looking for something different in their life. So we have to be privy to the fact that you gotta be confident. And you gotta not take things personally.
And you can't wait to be chosen, because what if they end up never choosing you because they actually don't like you? That's okay. Not everyone's gonna like you, and not everyone's gonna be in need of your service or your value. And I think as we grow older, we have to realize we gotta choose ourselves.
Yes.
And there's a wonderful book by James Altucher called Choose Yourself, and it has to do with developing your own career and making your own path in your life. And it's spoken volumes for me, and it always sticks with me. So I think a lot of times we put a lot of our self-worth into being selected, and we have to take that out and just be confident in the skills, the personality, and the everything else that we offered.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And with that, we hope you enjoyed our little flashback to a production set extravaganza.
And if you guys have ever been extras or you're planning to be, let us know.
Hit us
because
up,
it's very interesting. We love to learn of everyone else's experiences. As we said, this was our experience. There's other people that work on movies or in different climates,
documentaries. It's a different world.
It's a different world, and I'm not sure how long I want to stay in it.
So with that said, we wish you a beautiful week, and we look forward to hearing from you. You can check us out on www.renaissanceswag.com, or RenSwag for short. Be sure to hit us up on our social media accounts.
Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. We got the whole 9 yards.
And we wish you a beautiful week.
And until then,
ciao, ciao.
Mwah.
Now, we learned so much that we wanted to dedicate today's entire...
Go with it. God, wow, that was...